The benevolent offer. The observation deck of the International Space Coordination Center in Geneva offered a perfect view of the night sky. Director James Morrison stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the stars twinkle against the darkness. He was a man in his late 50s with silver hair and sharp blue eyes that had witnessed humanity's greatest achievements in space exploration. Tonight, those eyes would witness something unprecedented. A ripple appeared in the fabric of space, visible even to the naked eye. It started as a shimmer, like heat waves rising from summer pavement, then expanded into a swirling vortex of blue and purple light. Something massive was pushing through from another dimension. The phenomenon lasted exactly 43 seconds before a vessel emerged that defied every expectation humanity had built about spacecraft design. The ship was enormous, stretching nearly 20 kilometers from end to end. Its hull gleamed with a pearl-like iridescence that shifted colors as it moved. Elegant curves and sweeping architectural elements made it look more like a floating palace than a military vessel. Lights danced across its surface in patterns that seemed almost alive. Every human watching felt a mixture of awe and unease. This was first contact, the moment humanity had dreamed about and feared in equal measure. Morrison's communication device vibrated against his wrist. He activated it without taking his eyes off the alien vessel. The voice of his assistant, Caroline Webb, came through clearly despite her obvious excitement. "Director, we are receiving a transmission on multiple frequencies. They are broadcasting in English, Mandarin, Spanish, Arabic, and 17 other languages simultaneously. They want to speak with Earth's leadership." Morrison allowed himself a small smile. Of course they had studied human languages. Any species capable of crossing interstellar distances would have monitored Earth's broadcasts for years before making contact. He wondered what conclusions they had drawn from humanity's television shows, news broadcasts, and social media posts. Did they think humans were violent based on action movies? Did they think humans were foolish based on reality television? Or had they seen something deeper in the documentaries, the scientific achievements, the slow but steady progress toward global cooperation? "Tell them I will meet with their representatives in 6 hours at the main assembly chamber," Morrison said calmly. "That gives us time to prepare and them time to feel confident that we are taking them seriously. Also, activate Protocol Night Watch. Do it quietly." Caroline hesitated for just a moment. Protocol Night Watch had been established 70 years ago, after humanity had developed reliable fusion drives and begun serious expansion into the solar system. It was the standing order that prepared Earth's hidden defenses for potential threats. Most people did not even know it existed. "Are you certain, Director? We do not know if they are hostile." Morrison finally turned away from the window. His expression was calm, but his eyes held a weight that Caroline had learned to respect. "We do not know if they are friendly either. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That has kept humanity alive for millennia. It will serve us well tonight." 6 hours later, the main assembly chamber of the International Space Coordination Center was filled with representatives from every nation on Earth. The room could hold 5,000 people, and every seat was occupied. Scientists, diplomats, military advisors, and world leaders sat in careful arrangement. Cameras broadcast the event to every corner of the planet. Nearly 9 billion people watched their screens, waiting to see what would happen next. The alien delegation arrived in a smaller shuttle that descended from their massive vessel. It landed on the designated platform outside the building, with barely a whisper of displaced air. The landing was so smooth that observers wondered if the craft even used conventional propulsion. The door opened with a soft hiss and 5 figures emerged. The leader of the delegation was immediately recognizable by his posture and the deference shown by his companions. He stood roughly 2.5 meters tall with skin that had a faint blue tint under Earth's lights. His face was humanoid enough to read expressions, but alien enough to remind everyone that this was truly another species. Large eyes the color of polished copper observed everything with keen intelligence. He wore robes that seemed to be woven from liquid silver, constantly flowing and reshaping around his form. The delegation walked into the assembly chamber with measured grace. Every eye followed them as they approached the central platform where Director Morrison waited. The alien leader stopped at a respectful distance and performed a gesture that might have been a bow. When he spoke, his voice was deep and resonant, carrying easily through the chamber without amplification. People of Earth. I am Admiral Gentar of the Kelvari Protectorate. We come to you in friendship and with great purpose. Your species has recently achieved faster-than-light capability. This accomplishment has brought you to our attention and to the attention of others in the galaxy. We are here to welcome you to the community of spacefaring civilizations and to offer you something precious, our protection. Morrison nodded politely. Admiral Gentar, on behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth. We are honored by your visit and eager to learn more about the Kelvari Protectorate and your purpose here. Please tell us about this protection you offer. Gentar's copper eyes seemed to brighten slightly. He gestured, and a holographic display materialized in the air above the platform. It showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy with hundreds of star systems highlighted in green. The Kelvari Protectorate was formed 8,000 years ago by 5 species who recognized a fundamental truth about the universe. The galaxy is vast and dangerous. There are hostile forces, natural phenomena that can erase entire worlds, and countless other threats that young civilizations cannot face alone. The holographic display shifted, showing images of various alien species. Some were beautiful, others terrifying. All were clearly advanced and powerful. We offer membership in our protectorate to species like yours. In exchange for a modest contribution of resources and cooperation with our security protocols, you gain access to our technology, our trade networks, and most importantly, our military protection. 73 species currently enjoy the benefits of Protectorate membership. They live in peace, free from the terrors that plague unprotected worlds. Morrison watched the display carefully, noting every detail. The green highlighted systems formed a rough sphere in one section of the galaxy. The Kelvari claimed to protect 73 species, which suggested a massive economic and military infrastructure. He also noted that Gentar had not mentioned what happened to species who declined this generous offer. What kind of resource contribution would be expected? Morrison asked, keeping his tone neutral and curious. Gentar waved a hand dismissively. Modest, as I said. Each protected species contributes according to their capability. For Earth, we estimate that 20% of your raw material extraction, particularly rare metals and fusion fuel, would be appropriate. Additionally, we would establish monitoring stations throughout your solar system to coordinate defense efforts. Your military forces would integrate with Protectorate command structures to ensure optimal protection. 20% of Earth's resources would cripple the colonies on Mars, the mining operations in the asteroid belt, and the research stations throughout the outer solar system. Integration with Protectorate command structures meant surrendering military autonomy. Morrison had read enough history to recognize a protection racket when he heard one. The Kelvari were sophisticated about it, wrapping their demands in diplomatic language and promises of safety, but the core was the same as any criminal enterprise. Pay us or face the consequences. And what threats would we be protected from? Morrison asked. His voice remained polite, but several people in the assembly chamber recognized the edge beneath his words. Gentar's expression suggested he was pleased to be asked. The galaxy contains many dangers. Pirates and raiders who prey on undefended vessels, territorial disputes with aggressive species, cosmic phenomena that your current technology cannot detect or deflect. The Protectorate handles all of this, allowing our member species to focus on cultural and scientific development rather than expensive military preparation. Morrison nodded slowly, as if considering this information seriously. Admiral Gentar, this is indeed a generous offer. However, Earth has a tradition of careful deliberation on matters of such importance. I request 72 hours to consult with our leadership and present your proposal to our people. Would this be acceptable? Gentar inclined his head graciously. Of course. We understand that this is a significant decision. Please, take the time you need. We will remain in orbit and are available to answer any questions you might have. He paused, and something shifted in his expression. Something that might have been a smile or might have been something less friendly. I trust you will make the wise choice. The galaxy can be harsh to those who stand alone. The delegation departed with the same ceremony they had arrived with. As soon as they were gone, the assembly chamber erupted in conversation. Some representatives were excited about the technology and trade opportunities. Others were deeply suspicious of the Kelvari's terms. Morrison listened to the debate for exactly 10 minutes before raising his hand for silence. We will discuss this properly. But first, I need everyone with level 7 clearance or higher to join me in the secure conference room. The rest of you, please compile your thoughts and questions. We will reconvene in 12 hours. The secure conference room was located 300 meters beneath the main building, surrounded by electromagnetic shielding and physical barriers that would stop anything short of a nuclear weapon. 27 people gathered around a circular table. These were the members of Earth's Shadow Council, representatives from every major power and several key military and scientific positions. Most of the world did not know this council existed. Morrison activated the central display, which showed real-time data from thousands of sensors throughout the solar system. Let us be clear about what just happened. The Kelvari arrived with an impressive ship and an offer that sounds generous. They want 20% of our resources and integration of our military forces. In exchange, they promise protection from threats they conveniently did not specify in detail. General Sarah Martinez, commander of the United Space Defense Force, leaned forward. Her dark eyes were hard with suspicion. It is a protection racket. Classic formula. Create fear of external threats, offer protection, take control of the victim's resources and military. The only question is whether they manufactured those threats, or if there are real dangers they defend against. Dr. Kenji Yamamoto, head of Earth's Deep Space Research Initiative, pulled up additional data on his tablet. I have been analyzing their vessel. The energy signatures are impressive but not beyond our theoretical capabilities. Their propulsion system appears to be an advanced form of dimensional folding, which we have been working on for the past decade. Their weapons, and yes, they have weapons despite the peaceful appearance, seem to be directed energy systems and kinetic projectiles. Powerful, but not invincible. Morrison looked around the table. What about Protocol Nightwatch? Are we ready? If this turns hostile? Admiral Thomas Chen, head of Orbital Defense Command, nodded grimly. All stations are on standby. The Kelvari scanned our system when they arrived, but they saw exactly what we wanted them to see. Commercial traffic, research stations, mining operations. They detected no military installations because we built our defenses to be invisible to conventional scanning methods. Morrison allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Humanity had learned many lessons from its violent history. One of the most important was that showing weakness could invite aggression, but showing all your strength eliminated the element of surprise. Earth's real military capability was hidden in plain sight, disguised as civilian infrastructure throughout the solar system. What about intelligence on the Kelvari themselves? Morrison asked. Do we have any information about this protectorate? Commander Lisa Torres, head of Signal Intelligence, activated her own display. We have been monitoring their communications since they arrived. They are remarkably careless about security, probably because they assume we lack the technology to intercept their transmissions. What we found is disturbing. The Kelvari have been expanding their protectorate for thousands of years. Every species they encountered was given the same offer we received. Most accepted immediately, overwhelmed by the alien technology and fearful of the threats the Kelvari described. And the ones who refused? General Martinez asked quietly. Commander Torres's expression darkened. Of the 12 species we found records of who initially declined, 8 eventually accepted after experiencing raids from unknown attackers. 2 went silent completely, their systems now marked as uninhabited. 2 were classified as hostile civilizations and subjected to pacification operations. The records suggest pacification means military conquest. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. The Kelvari were not benevolent protectors. They were empire builders who used fear and coercion instead of open conquest. It was sophisticated and effective, creating a system where the victims believed they needed their oppressors. Morrison stood and walked to the holographic display showing the Kelvari vessel in orbit. So we have 72 hours to decide whether to submit to gradual enslavement or to stand against a force that has been building power for 8,000 years. He turned back to the council. What are our chances if we refuse and they attack? Admiral Chen smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. Director, they have one impressive vessel in our system. We have 417 hidden weapon platforms, 63 disguised combat vessels, and defensive installations on every major body in the solar system. Our stealth technology is a generation ahead of their scanning capability. Our weapons are designed based on principles they have not encountered. If they attack us here in our home system, where we have been preparing for exactly this scenario for 70 years, they will lose. And if they return with a larger fleet, Morrison pressed, then we fight a larger fleet. General Martinez said flatly, Director, humanity did not claw its way out of the gravity well just to submit to alien conquerors. We have contingency plans for fleet actions, guerrilla warfare, and if necessary, scorched earth protocols. We would rather die free than live as subjects. Morrison looked at each council member in turn. He saw determination, anger, and resolve. These were people who understood what was at stake. I need to know right now if anyone at this table believes we should accept the Kelvari's offer. Speak freely. This is too important for politics. No one spoke. The silence was answer enough. Very well. Morrison said quietly. We tell them no. And when they threaten us, we show them exactly what happens when you underestimate humanity. Admiral Chen, bring all defensive systems to full readiness. Do it quietly, but be prepared to engage at a moment's notice. Commander Torres, continue monitoring their communications. I want to know what they are planning before they plan it. Dr. Yamamoto, analyze every piece of data we have on their technology. Find weaknesses. General Martinez, prepare our forces for possible combat operations. He paused, looking once more at the holographic display showing the alien vessel. And someone get me everything we can find about the species under Kelvari protection. If we are going to break this empire, we need to let its subjects know the truth about their protectors. The council dispersed to their tasks, moving with the urgency of people who knew that war might be hours away. Morrison returned to his office and sat alone in the darkness looking out at the stars. Somewhere up there, the Kelvari were confident of their victory. They had crushed or coerced dozens of species. They believed humanity would be just another name on their list of protected civilizations. They were about to discover how wrong they were. Humanity's answer. The 72 hours passed with agonizing slowness for some and terrifying speed for others. Across Earth, people debated the Kelvari offer in homes, offices, and public squares. News networks ran constant coverage with experts arguing both sides. Some called for acceptance, pointing to the advanced technology and safety the Protectorate promised. Others demanded resistance, refusing to surrender humanity's hard-won independence to alien overlords. Director James Morrison spent those 3 days in almost constant meetings. He spoke with world leaders, military commanders, scientists, and even historians who specialized in colonialism and subjugation. The consensus was clear. Earth would refuse the Kelvari offer, but they would do so carefully. This was not about human pride or foolish bravery. This was about survival and the future of human civilization among the stars. On the morning of the third day, Morrison stood once again in the assembly chamber. The room was even more crowded than before, with additional observers packed into every available space. The Kelvari delegation arrived precisely on time, Admiral Gentar leading his 4 companions to the central platform. The aliens' copper eyes surveyed the assembled humans with what might have been confidence or anticipation. Director Morrison, Gentar said warmly, his voice carrying that same resonant quality. We are eager to hear Earth's decision. I trust you have had sufficient time to recognize the wisdom of accepting Protectorate membership. Morrison stood and walked to meet the Admiral at the center of the platform. He wore a simple dark suit, deliberately understated compared to Gentar's flowing silver robes. When he spoke, his voice was calm and measured, carrying no trace of the tension he felt. Admiral Gentar, we appreciate the time you have given us to consider your offer. We have consulted with our leadership, our people, and our best minds. We have reached a unanimous decision. He paused, meeting the Admiral's copper eyes directly. Earth respectfully declines membership in the Kelvari Protectorate. We choose to maintain our independence and face the challenges of the galaxy on our own terms. The silence that followed was absolute. Every human in the chamber held their breath. The Kelvari delegation stood frozen, clearly not expecting this response. Gentar's expression shifted through several emotions too quickly to read. When he finally spoke, his voice had lost its warmth. Director Morrison, I do not believe you fully understand what you are refusing. The galaxy is dangerous beyond your comprehension. Without Protectorate protection, Earth will face threats that your primitive defenses cannot withstand. Surely you can see the logic in accepting our help. Morrison's expression remained polite, but firm. We understand the risks, Admiral. We also understand the cost of accepting your help. 20% of our resources in perpetuity. Integration of our military forces under your command. Monitoring stations throughout our system. These terms amount to surrendering our sovereignty. We fought too hard for our independence to give it away, even to beings as advanced as yourselves. Gentar's posture changed subtly, becoming more rigid and imposing. His copper eyes narrowed. You speak of independence, but you are children playing with dangerous toys. Your faster-than-light capability is impressive for such a young species, but it is not enough. There are forces in this galaxy that would erase Earth without hesitation. The Protectorate stands between you and annihilation. Morrison nodded thoughtfully, as if considering these words seriously. Tell me, Admiral, in your 8,000 years of protecting species, how many have faced these terrible threats you describe? How many worlds have actually been attacked by these mysterious hostile forces? Gentar's expression flickered with something that might have been irritation. Many worlds have been threatened. The Protectorate's presence prevents most attacks before they occur. Our reputation alone keeps dangers at bay. So you are saying that species under your protection face no actual threats because you are there, Morrison said slowly, and species who refuse your protection face mysterious attacks from unknown enemies. Does that not strike you as convenient? The Admiral's demeanor shifted from diplomatic to cold. You are making a grave mistake, Director. The Protectorate does not make this offer twice. If you refuse now, when the inevitable attacks come, we will not intervene. Your people will suffer, and it will be because of your arrogance. Morrison smiled, and there was something dangerous in that smile. Something that made several of the Kelvari delegates step back slightly. Admiral Gentar, we have spent the last 72 hours analyzing your communications. We have very good intelligence services, you see. We know about the raider fleets you employ. We know about the attacks you stage to frighten species into accepting protection. We know the truth about your Protectorate. Gentar's copper eyes widened. His composure cracked completely. You dare to spy on us? You dare to accuse the Protectorate of deception? Your arrogance knows no bounds. Morrison raised his hand, and the lights in the assembly chamber dimmed. Holographic displays activated throughout the room, showing intercepted communications, financial records, and deployment orders. Everything was translated into multiple languages, so everyone present could understand what they were seeing. These are your own records, Admiral, Morrison said quietly. Messages coordinating raider attacks, financial transfers to mercenary groups, orders to stage incidents that would frighten species into accepting protection. Your entire system is built on manufactured fear and coercion. You are not protectors. You are extortionists with impressive technology. Gentar's face went through several shades of color. His silver robe seemed to ripple with agitation. You have no right to access our private communications. This is an act of war, is it? Morrison asked calmly. You came to our system, scanned our defenses, and prepared to threaten us if we refused your offer. We simply gathered intelligence about a potential threat. That seems like prudent self-defense, not an act of war. He stepped closer to the Admiral, and despite being a full meter shorter, Morrison somehow seemed larger and more commanding. But since you mentioned war, let us discuss that. You scanned our system when you arrived. Your sensors showed you. Commercial vessels, research stations, and mining operations. You saw no military installations, no weapon platforms, no hidden defenses. You concluded that we are weak and unprepared. Would you like to know what you actually missed? Morrison gestured, and the holographic displays changed. The image showed Earth's solar system, but now it was filled with thousands of red points. Each point represented a weapon system, defense station, or military vessel that had been hidden from Kelvari sensors. Admiral Chen of our Orbital Defense Command stood from his seat in the assembly. He was a broad-shouldered man with gray hair and the bearing of someone who had spent decades in military service. Every red point you see represents a defensive installation that your scans failed to detect. We have been preparing for potential hostile first contact for 70 years, Admiral. We built our defenses into asteroids, research stations, and commercial facilities. We developed stealth technology specifically designed to defeat advanced scanning systems like yours. One of the holographic displays zoomed in on what the Kelvari had identified as a simple astronomical research station on Earth's moon. The image peeled back layers to reveal massive railgun batteries, missile systems, and power generators capable of maintaining sustained fire for days. "This is Lunar Base Armstrong," Admiral Chen continued. "Your drones scanned it and saw telescopes. They missed the fact that those telescopes can track and target spacecraft with lethal precision. They did not recognize that the entire facility is a fortress built to survive orbital bombardment and return fire." Another display showed an asteroid mining operation that the Kelvari had dismissed as purely commercial. The image revealed hidden weapon emplacements and drives capable of maneuvering the entire asteroid as a kinetic weapon. "This is Mining Station Eros," Admiral Chen said with a slight smile. "Perfectly legitimate resource extraction that also happens to be a mobile weapons platform. We have 47 installations like this throughout the belt." Gentar stared at the displays, his copper eyes moving rapidly as he tried to process what he was seeing. "This is impossible. Our scans are the most advanced in the galaxy. We would have detected these installations." Dr. Yamamoto rose from his seat. He was a slim man with graying hair and the patient expression of someone who spent his life explaining complex ideas. "Your scans are indeed advanced, Admiral, but they are based on assumptions about how military installations should look and what energy signatures they produce. We designed our defenses to violate those assumptions. We studied stealth technology not to hide from our own sensors, but to defeat sensors we had never encountered. We prepared for an unknown enemy, which meant preparing for capabilities beyond our own." Commander Torres activated another display. This one showed real-time tracking data. "Admiral, since you arrived in our system, you have been shadowed by 41 stealth vessels. They have maintained position around your ship, tracking your every movement. You never detected them because we designed them specifically to be invisible to advanced scanning technology." The display showed the Kelvari vessel surrounded by a cloud of smaller craft, each one marking a human warship that had been watching the aliens since their arrival. Gentar's expression shifted from shock to something approaching fear. "This is a trick," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "You are trying to frighten us with false displays." General Martinez stood, her voice cutting through the chamber like a blade. "Would you like us to prove it is real, Admiral? We can have any of those vessels ping your ship with targeting lasers. You would detect that clearly enough. Or perhaps we could have them decloak entirely. I assure you, they are quite real and quite capable of reducing your vessel to debris if we give the order." Gentar looked around the assembly chamber, seeing the determined faces of humanity's representatives. These were not the frightened primitives he had expected. These were people who had prepared for this exact scenario and were confident in their ability to back up their words with force. "You are making a catastrophic error," Gentar said, trying to recover some authority. "The Protectorate is vast. We have thousands of vessels. If you resist, if you attack us, you will face retaliation beyond your capacity to withstand." Morrison walked back to the central platform. His voice remained calm, but everyone in the room could hear the steel beneath it. "Admiral, your Protectorate has been expanding for 8,000 years. You have never faced serious military opposition, because you target species immediately after they achieve faster-than-light capability. You catch them when they are most vulnerable, before they have time to build real defenses or understand the galactic situation. You rely on intimidation and manufactured threats. You have forgotten how to actually fight." He gestured to the displays still showing Earth's hidden arsenal. "Humanity has not forgotten. We have 10,000 years of warfare documented in our history. We have studied every conflict, every tactical innovation, every strategic doctrine developed by our species. We know how to fight, Admiral. More importantly, we know when to fight. And we have decided that surrendering our freedom to avoid a fight we can win is not acceptable." Gentar's composure was completely shattered now. His silver robe seemed to hang limply around him. "You cannot win against the Protectorate. We have resources, technology, and allies that you cannot match. Morrison smiled coldly. Perhaps. But you will not be fighting all of humanity, Admiral. You will be fighting us here in our home system, where we have spent 70 years preparing defenses. You will be fighting a species that has survived ice ages, plagues, asteroid impacts, and its own worst destructive impulses. You will be fighting beings who chose to reach for the stars even though space tried to kill us at every step. We are very, very difficult to kill, Admiral, and we learn quickly from our mistakes. He paused, letting his words sink in. But we are not unreasonable. We do not want war. We want peace and cooperation with other species based on mutual respect, not coercion. So here's our counteroffer. Leave our system. Return to your protectorate. Tell them that Earth is not interested in membership. Tell them that if they send raiders to attack us, we will destroy those raiders and broadcast the evidence of protectorate involvement to every species in the galaxy. Tell them that we know the truth about their protection racket, and we are prepared to share that truth with their 73 subjects. Gentar found his voice again, though it was weak. You would turn the entire galaxy against us. You would destroy an order that has kept peace for millennia. Morrison shook his head. We would give species the choice you tried to deny them, the choice to be free or to accept protection willingly, rather than through fear. If your protectorate is truly beneficial, if you truly protect rather than exploit, then you have nothing to fear from the truth. But if your system survives only through deception and intimidation, then perhaps it deserves to fall. The assembly chamber remained silent. Gentar looked at his 4 companions, then back at the displays showing humanity's hidden military might. He seemed to age before their eyes, the weight of realization crushing his confidence. You are serious, he said quietly. You would actually fight us, we would prefer not to. Morrison replied honestly. But yes, we are absolutely serious. We will not submit to extortion, even if it comes wrapped in diplomatic language and promises of safety. We choose freedom, whatever the cost. Gentar stood silently for a long moment. Then he performed that gesture that might have been a bow. The protectorate will withdraw from your system. But this matter is not concluded. My superiors will decide how to respond to your defiance. Morrison nodded. We will be ready for whatever they decide. But Admiral, before you go, we want you to deliver one more message. Tell your superiors that humanity is broadcasting the truth about the protectorate to every species we can reach. Tell them that their subjects will soon know what we know. Tell them that their empire built on fear is about to face its greatest threat, informed and angry populations demanding real freedom. Commander Torres activated a final display. It showed communication arrays throughout Earth's solar system, transmitting data in hundreds of languages and formats. We are already sending the information, Admiral. Every species under protectorate control will receive evidence of the manufactured threats, the staged attacks, and the exploitation disguised as protection. By this time tomorrow, the truth will be spreading through the galaxy. Gentar's copper eyes widened in horror. You cannot do this. You will destabilize everything. We can and we are, Morrison said firmly. You came here to make Earth your next victim. Instead, you are about to lose the victims you already have. That is the consequence of underestimating humanity. We do not accept bullies. We expose them. The Kelvari delegation left the assembly chamber in disarray. Within an hour, their shuttle had returned to their vessel. Within 2 hours, the massive ship began moving away from Earth orbit. The 41 human stealth vessels followed it to the edge of the solar system, ensuring it actually left and did not attempt any hostile action. As the Kelvari vessel disappeared into faster-than-light space, Morrison stood once again in the observation deck where this had all begun. Admiral Chen joined him, both men watching the stars in comfortable silence. Do you think they will come back with a fleet? Chen asked quietly. Morrison considered the question. Possibly, probably, even. The Protectorate cannot afford to let this go unanswered. But by the time they organize a response, every species they control will know the truth. Their empire is about to face rebellions from within. They may find themselves too busy with internal problems to worry about Earth. And if they do come back, Chen pressed. Morrison smiled. Then we show them that humanity is even more dangerous when we have time to prepare. 3 days was enough to surprise them. Give us months or years and we will build defenses that make what we have now look primitive. Chen nodded slowly. You know, Director, most species would have accepted the Kelvari offer. The technology alone would have been tempting. The safety even more so. Morrison turned from the window to face the Admiral. Most species did not claw their way out of caves and jungles through sheer stubbornness. Most species did not survive by learning to cooperate despite 1,000 reasons to fight each other. Most species did not look at a hostile universe and decide to explore it anyway. Humanity is not most species. We are survivors, explorers, and we absolutely refuse to accept that someone else knows better than us what we need. He looked back at the stars, at the vast darkness that humanity was venturing into with courage and caution in equal measure. The Kelvari thought they knew who they were threatening. They thought they understood humanity because they scanned our system and saw no obvious weapons. They learned the hard truth that humans have known for millennia. The most dangerous threats are the ones you do not see coming. Across the galaxy, as human transmissions reached species after species under Kelvari control, a new word began spreading. Earth, the planet that said no, the species that exposed the lie, the beings who laughed when threatened and then proved they had every right to laugh. Humanity's reputation among the stars was being written in these crucial hours, and it was a reputation that would echo through the cosmos for generations. The Kelvari had offered protection. Humanity had replied with a simple message. We protect ourselves. And the galaxy went silent, listening to that reply and wondering what kind of species could back up such bold words. They would find out soon enough. Humanity was just getting started.